been almost 3 years since the launch of Warhammer 40k Darktide. I played at launch, had fun and had a great time with friends, but I thought something was missing. It felt rushed out the door, it felt incomplete. So I put the game down with the idea of returning in the future. After many updates, new content and changes to the game, I'm sure there are many people like me who want to return to the game, or even new players that want to check it out for the first time, but still want to know if Darktide's worth playing anymore. Well, thanks to Fatshark, I was able to check out the brand new Arbitrator update early to answer a few key questions. Is it the right time to return to Darktide? What's Darktide like for a new player? And is the Arbitrator's update actually any good? First thing I want to answer in the video is, what is the new player experience like? Because the one we had at launch was pretty much non-existent. You would do the tutorial and then be thrown into hordes of chaos. There wasn't any real direction or consistent theme to the story. You basically had to piece everything all together and just go from mission to mission. In the Arbitrator's update, this has changed. There is finally a new player progression alongside a narrative in the form of 17 campaign missions. Between each of these missions, there's a 30-second cutscene or so that outlines what is going on in the narrative and gives you some commentary in the beginning parts of missions from different key characters in the story. As you progress through the different story missions, you will eventually get to the point where you've unlocked all of the vendors in the game, so then you can slowly understand the systems in the game. You unlock crafting, then contracts and requisitions, and eventually having access to all of them by the time you get to rank 17, and it should take you into the mid-game of Darktide. I certainly think that this is the best way to get new players into the game, or even get returning players that want to experience the full narrative campaign, or people like me that are just completely oblivious to what is going on in the story. My experience with it so far, though, has been pretty good. It's smoother and easier to follow, with a few things that need to be improved. I think the tutorial process for every element of the game needs to be more apparent. Explaining how crafting works, or how contracts and requisitions work, how you can upgrade different stats on your weapons. Pushing you towards each part of the game and having these there is especially important for the learning purpose of a new player, and even though I picked it up eventually, I do think that they need to improve on this. Obviously, there is going to be some player agency in learning these things, but it would certainly help to make them front and center during the onboarding process. However, the new player experience isn't the biggest draw of this new update. It's got to be the new class, the Arbitrator. The Adeptus Arbites is exactly what happens when you combine Judge Dredd with 40k, but instead of it being just Judge, Jury, and Executioner, they are Judge, Jury, and Executioner for the Galactic IRS, and Tertium hasn't paid their tithe, so they're here to sort things out. And yes, you do have your very own Cyber Mastiff, and yes, you can pet them. The class to me feels very much like a riot cop, just standing in place and dealing with the hordes that are coming towards you, with the added bonus of having the Mastiff. During my time with the class, I managed to fall on 3 distinct playstyles. Playstyle 1, which had you focusing all of your points in the skill tree onto your Cyber Mastiff, having them pounce on elite targets, shocking them when they pounce, boosting their damage to almost like 300%, it feels like, with one of the Keystone passives, and then holding down the front line with your weapons. And it's very sustainable. I found this playstyle very fun. Playstyle 2 is you don't have the Cyber Mastiff, but you can go with the other 2 abilities that you have, and you can get massive buffs to damage boosts, your toughness buffs as well, different effects where you're neutralizing things that you have that can't be done to you, or there's Playstyle 3, which is a blend of both. The main blitz abilities are a dedicated grenade to the Arbites, which you get 4 of them, and if you decide to go Lone Wolf, you can have this regenerating as well, which is pretty cool, alongside remote detonation that you can have on your Mastiffs, and the Voltaic Shock Mine, which is very good for being able to like hold down choke points and also put it behind you when you're doing key objectives. All of which are great, and I think they're going to get multiple usage by everyone that's playing the game. The real fun part, though, is the combat abilities. The Nuncio Aquila, which is the middle combat ability, allows you to put a radius down, which replenishes your toughness over time. It also damages enemies by shocking them when they walk into it. It also gives you the added benefit of immunity to suppression and slowdown. I didn't use this as much during my playtime, but I did have teammates that used it, and it was pretty great. Then you have Break the Line. This is a charge ability that sends you forward, it causes really high stagger, and then just allows to smack unsuspecting enemies afterwards on the head, just bonking them away. I especially love using this to knock down crushers, and I had a teammate that was using this quite a lot, and they said it was really fun to use alongside using the combat shotgun that they have. But my personal favorite was the Castigator's stance. This stance gives you 80% damage reduction, a movement speed boost, but you can't sprint. And I love this stance a lot because it makes you super tanky and also helps buff up your Cyber Mastiff because it does 75% more damage when you activate this stance. Overall, I don't think any of them are bad, and you have a lot of options, especially when you come to the class's keystone passives. Execution Order helps your dog do even more damage. I think it does like 250% more damage, which is crazy. Forceful works in a way like staggering enemies and blocking to gain a damage buff and then kind of going into that loop. And then Terminus Warrant focuses on swapping weapons between melee and range to get buffs between swapping. This leads perfectly into talking about the weapons that you're going to be using as well, because there's been 4 that have added to the game that you can use in the Arbitrator's loadout. The shotgun, which is super chunky, super fun to use, sounds great, and it has this special ability that allows you to do like a little shock attack as well, and you see on top of the gun, you actively reload it when you are using it, which is a real nice feature. We then have the shock maul on its own. I don't think this is as effective. I didn't really use this that much because I prefer the other variant that I'm using. There is also the shot pistol and the riot shield, which is kind of like a beefy hand cannon when you were using it. You don't get the added benefit that the suppression shield gives you, but it was fun to use. And obviously I've already mentioned it, but the shock maul and suppression shield was by far and away the best weapon that I used. You have the ability to stun people in front of you or suppress them in front of you, which is really nice. Then go to town. You can block quite a lot of stuff with this as well, and it kind of plays into that riot shield, riot cop kind of play style, and then you just have your Cyber Mastiff running around kicking ass. My initial impressions of this class is it's going to be great for new and returning players to jump into because it does quite a few things well. I really love the ability to mark targets with the Mastiff and like hold them down, especially like annoying ones that you have to deal with. I also like the ability that with one of the keystone passives, it highlights elites around the room for you, so you kind of have a prediction of where things are going to be coming from, which is also kind of nice. I think it's more of a jack of all trades type of build, and there's been a lot of different variety that I've already seen in the last couple of days, and I'm sure when proper Darktide players and not just newbies get their hands on it, they will have some fun. Which, besides a couple of other updates like Havoc 2.0 and like some patch notes and stuff, I think it's time to actually talk about the rest of Darktide and why you should be jumping back in, because the game has gone through significant changes in that time, and one of them is quite big, which is the class reworks. At launch, every single class would have feats that would unlock every 5 levels or so, and you also only had like one ability that you could use, so it wasn't really too great when it came to build diversity. This system didn't feel right, which is why in 2023 all of the base game's classes had extensive overhauls, and some of which have had multiple changes even in the last couple of months, including the latest being Ogrin 2.0. Instead of feats, you have levels now, and you gain a point per level all the way up to level 30. You put those points into a skill tree, and it has different key nodes and passives that you will go through to get various effects. And there are 3 directions that you can take, but you can kind of go across all of them and kind of mix and match. But usually this goes down to a different class concept, whether that be more supportive, more tanky, more damage based, bleed, suppression, whatever it may be. I haven't had too much time to check out other characters and kind of see how all of them play, because I was mainly playing with the Arbitrates because they were actually really good when I had my time on the game. I definitely want to sink some more time into all of the classes on just base levels of Darktide to understand them, learn them, and maybe get a little bit better at the game. And oh yeah, I completely forgot to mention that you can respec at any time for absolutely free, which is awesome. Here's the thing. The class update is great, but it actually pales in comparison to the biggest overhaul that Darktide has had, which is weapon progression, crafting, and the itemization in the game. Now, if you're like me, I love a good loot chase. I love tinkering and perfecting gear to match my build to do maximum damage or whatever I'm trying to do. with the unlocked and loaded patch that came in September of 2024, that became so much easier and way better to do in Darktide. The mastery system allows the players to level up whatever weapons they want to gain mastery points, going all the way up to level 20. You can do this by getting the XP on the weapon, sacrificing weapons to get this all the way leveled up, but on the way up to level 20 being used, you get more blessing points, you get weapon marks, you get perk rank unlocks, and you also get power caps unlocked as well, taking you all the way to the level 500 power cap in the game. So if you like using that bolter or that sword that you're really interested in, then you'll spend time using it. For the sake of new players, blessings give you bonus effects on a weapon, and these can range from a variety of different things. There is over 181 in the game across all the weapons, with 101 weapons across the game for all the classes. Obviously, some have different weapons than others, and then obviously we've got the introduction of the Arbitrator update, which gives us a couple more as well. Perks are similar to blessings, but offer bonus stats for a variety of enemies, ranged or melee. So usually it's like extra 25% against carapace enemies or flak armor enemies, and that's the kind of thing that you'll understand, and these go from rank 1 all the way to rank 4, which you will get from mastering the weapon. So how does this work in terms of crafting the perfect weapon for you? Let me pass you over to myself to give a quick live demonstration. First of all, let's look at weapon stats, because when you acquire a new piece of weaponry that you're going to be using, whether that's ranged or melee, you're going to get weapon stats that look like this, that will differ on every weapon. You can see I have some here, which is on the shock maul and suppression shield, but if we go to the combat axe, they're going to be a little bit different. They have finesse, first target, and they will show the potentials now that you can see on screen. So there's 80%, 8% when this is fully leveled up and maxed. What you're going to want is decide on whatever piece of gear that you have, what dump stat that you want. For example, you want to make sure mobility is at like 60, for instance. I'm not saying that's the best stat to use. And then everything else is 80, and then you can kind of have a max roll, and then you have the maximum amount that you can put in somewhere else. Then you can take it over to the crafting screen. Let's just walk through this just to show you how it would work. We'll use that very same combat axe that we've just picked up. You can see it's a grey piece of weaponry, which is 330. With materials, I have an account here. Obviously, this is a preview. So I can empower this and take this all the way up to level 500 if I go and get all of my masteries. So if we quickly take a look over at the masteries, you'll be able to see I have the combat axe, and I have all of these leveled to max, which gives me the 500 power cap. So pretty simple to follow. You get this all the way up to level 500, which is really easy to do. You just hold it. Obviously, when you're playing in the full game, you're going to have a whole bunch less materials than I am, so you're going to want to be farming this to get it all the way up. And as you can see on the right hand side, all of the stats have maxed out. Then you can consecrate them. Consecrating improves the rarity into redeemed, then into anointed, then into exalted, then into transcendent, and that gives you full perks. It also gives you full blessings as well. And obviously, when you have them, you can do both of these. You don't have to pick one. So if I want to do unarmored enemies with the combat axe and flak armor, or change it to flak armor 25%, or change this to maniacs, I can change these on the fly, and it's only going to cost me the amount of gold to do so. The same applies with blessings as well. When you have it maxed, you'll have level 4. You can change this on the fly and spend the money that you need to put whatever you want on it, and that is going to give you the perfect gear that you want to play into your playstyle, essentially. And this is one of the best features in the game, and one of the best updates that they've added to Darktide. There is certainly a clear weapon progression and a clear item progression in the game that just wasn't there at launch, but it is here now. Fatshark didn't just stop at the weapon and itemization systems. They also added another progression system to the game as well. In April of 2024, the Path of Redemption update added a new overhauled look at Penances. Penances are cosmetic rewards that you can earn from doing various challenges in the game. There will be challenges for different missions in the game, challenges for different classes, collectibles, and various other achievements that you can get, even going into the end game. And there are over 400 or 500 or so, if not more, penances that you can go and chase, ranging from the easy stuff all the way to the hard stuff, so you're going to be a little bit busy here. As a new player, this is also great to see because it means that not only can you work towards doing something in between getting that perfect roll, it also means that you can be upgrading your cosmetics as well whilst you level up, going one step further when you get to the end game and getting those really crazy looks. The last big update to the game that covers both endgame and general updates came in the form of the Grim Protocols and the Nightmares and Visions. This was where Havoc was introduced. Havoc is an endgame mode that basically has you completing missions in order to gain order levels. The best way I would describe this is imagine Nightmare dungeons in Diablo 4 and how they progressively get harder. They have affixes and modifiers to make it more difficult, or even like Nightfalls in Destiny. This is the best way that I would describe Havoc to a new player or other players from those games. Like mutators will make things kind of do some crazy stuff. They may get some buffs to you, there may be some debuffs, so it's going to be a lot challenging. The crazy part is Havoc is receiving an update as well, in this one being Havoc 2.0, which makes a lot of changes as well. And I've only tapped into this a little bit by looking at the modifiers, and I can't wait to get on my main account and actually try this out for myself. The other mode that they added in just March of this year was the Mortis Trials. This is a wave-based roguelike mode, essentially, where you pick different buffs to abilities that you can have, and it's short, sweet, and a great deal of fun. I've gone to like maybe wave 5 or so, but we're having some server issues, which means that we were disconnecting, and I think it'll be a little bit different when obviously the full game goes live, or I may even just try it out solo to see how I feel, but I really want to play this because I love me a good roguelike mode. Both of these modes add variety into the endgame chase and make it great for new players as that kind of attainable goal to go towards, especially with the penances as well, and I think it's been a great addition. Alongside these major updates, they've added countless balance patches, quality of life features, and changed the layouts of the maps. The added narrative as well is kind of nice, and they've just kind of added a whole bunch to the game to make it feel a lot better, pushing it into the state that I have been able to play today. And Darktide in 2025 finally feels like in the state it should have been at launch. I've not talked about the gameplay in this video much because that is honestly the best part of the game that I remember from launch, and it's the same now. It's raw, it's visceral, it's challenging, but it's fun. It's like Left 4 Dead on steroids. There's a variety of classes to use within group play, and I think that's one of the best aspects that the game has. The core gameplay has only improved over time, which I suppose is the reason why a lot of community players have kept up with Darktide. And the problem that Darktide had at launch was the other core systems around it. Flash forward to now, there's a great itemization system, there's great improvements to the classes and the chases, new endgame modes, and new player experience with narratives, and customization chase as well. And the Arbitrator update brings an awesome brand new class, which I love, and top it all off, the soundtrack still bangs. If you want me to answer the question, is Darktide worth playing now in 2025? Hell yeah, it is. I can recommend this to new and returning players, and I'm going to be playing a bunch of this over the next couple of days, and I think you should too. If you are thinking about checking out Darktide and the DLC, click the link in the description, which will take you to the Steam page. Wish list the DLC on there as it comes out on the 23rd of June, so only a couple of days away. Thank you once again to Fatshark for giving the opportunity to let this old scrub of a player get back into the game again and enjoy some more 40k goodness. I had a blast over the last week or so playing this, and I hope many players will as well. And as always, leave a like on the video if you've enjoyed this, subscribe if you want to see more content, and as always, this has been Jimbo, and I'll see you guys next time.